Shalom, Yasharala Shalom. All praises to the Most High Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. And I got another one. It's going to be a good one for y'all brothers, man. This is going to be on a survey that I had seen when I was driving yesterday. A real interesting survey from a channel called Daily Wrap-Up Crew. And the survey was conducted and it was posted on New York Post and all these things. So essentially, let's read it. It says, Poly's data on gender encompasses responses from 2,090,766 people in the U.S. Based on the findings, women have far more affairs than men. When it comes to having affairs, women beat men by over 50%. Poly's graph shows that 76.9% of those surveyed who had affairs were women, compared to just 23.1% of men. So essentially, this graph is showing that the women who were polled were 3 times as likely to be dealing in an affair compared to a man. And brothers, the reason why I've made more videos in relation to the woman is, 1, just because of life events, and 2, it's just based off of y'all brothers have to understand the truth and the reality of a woman. It's very essential for y'all to understand them because they are such a big part of your life. You meet women in your family, you meet women in the dating scene, you meet women at the job, and you interact with women on a daily basis. And a society has essentially built up a stigma and a false narrative about relationships. Whenever you brothers is growing up in the world, or let's say you're watching these movies, it would oftentimes speak on how men are cheaters and men love to cheat and they have a good woman at home, but they love to cheat. Well, men lie, women lie, numbers don't. The numbers is clearly showing that women are more likely to cheat. And I mean, of course it is, bro. You got feminism, you got women empowerment, you have social media. So while women don't have a great access to long-term relationships, they got a lot of access to eggplants. They got a lot of access to old flings. And I'm just gonna be honest with y'all brothers, man. I don't do this to, make y'all paranoid, make y'all anxious, to traumatize y'all, because for those of y'all who have never heard this information, it can be traumatizing, especially when you sleep with a woman every night, when you try to build something with a woman at night. My thing is just to give y'all a dose of reality. And one thing that you brothers are going to understand when you understand the scriptures is that it says knowledge increaseth sorrow. So in order for you to be able to understand the world around you, you're going to come to the reality that the world is not shit. And that many of these women, in fact, the vast majority of these women, they're not worth anything. You know what I'm saying? We live in a society that trained up whores for the last 50 years. So we're in the 3rd generation of women who have been in program to be a whore and to be independent. And there's no huge revolution. There's not going to be no huge reform that women are going to get on, bro. These women are going to be who they are until society collapses. So that's why it's important for y'all to understand it so you can protect yourself, bro. In 2024, the idea of a man getting legally married, you are delusional. No disrespect for all y'all brothers who are married. May the Lord bless your union, your covenant, or whatever it is. But I see it spiritually, not legally. I think it's literally asinine to legally marry a woman in 2024. Because when you look at the statistics, when you talk to women will tell on themselves. Go on Instagram, go on Threads, go on YouTube. It's all over. So essentially, as a man with knowledge and wisdom and discernment, stop expecting a lot from a woman. Stop expecting and giving a woman wife expectations when she has whore tendencies. And I know a lot of people are not going to like that, but I speak the truth, regardless of how people may feel about me or my channel in general. It's just the honest truth. If we were in the 1930s, the 1920s, the late 1800s, or even like medieval times, all the way back to ancient Israel, sure. But we're in the whore of Babylon, the era where the whore is being exalted, the spirit of the mother goddess is being exalted. So you just can't really expect much, bro. It is what it is. But if you still want to enjoy the woman and you still want to get value and quality, the first thing you need to do is you need to understand them. Because once you understand them, you're not going to have a false perception and a false expectation of them. You know what I'm saying? That's what these videos are for. And the scriptures just essentially reiterate many of the things that I'm talking about. So this is the book of Hosea, chapter 4 and 14. It says, I will not punish your daughters when they commit whoredom, nor your spouses when they commit adultery. For themselves are separated with whores, and they sacrifice with harlots. So 2 things. The Most High is basically saying, you want to know the reason why there's so much whoredom? You want to know the reason why there's so much adultery? It's because the Most High is allowing things to play out the way that they are, because you already know what the penalty is for whoredom, is that the land will be cursed. You already know what the penalty is for adultery, is that the man who committed adultery with another man's wife would be stoned, and the woman who committed adultery and slept with other men outside of her husband would be stoned. But clearly we're not in that society. We're in a wicked society with no order. So you brothers have to understand that because these women, and just people in general, but this is mainly focused on your brothers who are trying to pursue a relationship with a woman, because we're in a society that doesn't have any order and it openly promotes chaos, you can't expect for the Most High to bring judgment on women in this time. The Most High is going to bring judgment on the women who choose to be adulteresses, who choose to go out there and live a life of revelry and lasciviousness whenever the society collapses. Because once this society collapses, that's when the Most High is going to cast judgment on a mass scale. Because a lot of women are getting judged, different health issues, the separation of them from men. A lot of these women are essentially numb to any form of relationship, when what gives them joy and happiness in life is when they can have a strong man and when they can have children. So what a lot of these women don't understand is that when they continue to dwell in their excitement and intensity of being out there in these streets, it's going to affect them long term. And that's why so many of these women have mental issues, because they're just essentially getting a result of all their bad choices and all the things that the society promotes. That's why I don't promote whoredom. That's why I don't promote brothers just going out there and sleeping with random women, bro, because you're not helping the problem. And long term, it's causing the destruction of not only our nation, but the entire nation in general. So, it is what it is. But the reason why the Most High doesn't allow the women to be punished for committing adultery or being whores is because we separated ourselves from the Most High. Just like with Adam and Eve. Had Adam not followed after Eve, the curse wouldn't have came on him. But because he followed after her and he did what she told him to do, despite him knowing what was better, the Lord punished him and he punished her both. So because many of us men have gone off and followed after false gods, put the woman as our God, not me obviously, but men be talking about the black woman is God, and they kill themselves and they sell their souls so they can have a woman, place on as an idol. Essentially, the Most High is allowing this as a punishment. A lot of y'all brothers want to have families. A lot of y'all brothers want to trust women, but you understand what society is. So, you have to deal with it, bro. And the best way to deal with it is to fully accept that this is the society that you are living in. Brother, stop living in a delusional time thinking like, well, why can't women? Look, most of these women is not coming back. So don't expect too much, because I'm going to go back to the poll. Let's go back to the poll. All right, so you can see on the bottom right here, it says, based on their findings, women have far more affairs than men. So you can see it's at 76.9% compared to 23.1%. Now it says women are more likely to cheat than men. Here's why. New York Post. Now this is one that was actually pretty interesting. It says science is finding that women struggle more than men when it comes to staying faithful in relationships. And this is somebody quoting. It says, even when your marriage is good, you still miss that rush of feeling so excited you can't eat or sleep when you're having such an intense time emotionally and sexually with a new person. And brothers, y'all already know, if you watch other brothers, COJ, or just other Israelite camps in general, they oftentimes talk about how women have an infatuation phase where they met you, you're a new person, they're excited to meet you, they're fantasizing about what the sex is gonna be like. It's that high. Women, a lot of times you gotta understand these relationships are like drugs. I'm just gonna share with y'all. Before I came into the faith, I was experimental. So I understand the phenomenon on what it is to deal with a quick high, and then you love the high, you enjoy the high, and then once that high wears off, you're constantly seeking a new high, right? Well, for women, and not just women, but men as well, but mainly we talking about women. Whenever you're dealing in this casual relationship, hookup culture and stuff like that, when a woman finds a new man, it's like an intense high. They get into a fantasy land, a dreamlike state where all these pleasurable emotions come. But then once it dissipates, that's essentially when they come back into the reality. And when you have women in a society where women are saying, oh, that man you deserve better than that man. Oh, that man don't want to do this for you. He don't want to do this girl. You don't got to take that girl. You can find you a better man. I seen it last week. This one woman was on Instagram Threads, and basically her husband hadn't proposed to her after 7 years, but they had a good relationship. And she on Instagram Threads talking about, oh, this man hasn't proposed to me. Should I get on one knee and do it? And you don't know how many women, at least 40 to 50 women in the comments saying, no, hell no, you need to get rid of him and find somebody new. So essentially women will go online and feel like they need validation and attention, and they want a relationship that other people can accept, that they're willing to destroy something that they had good, so that way they can be accepted by the sisterhood, be accepted by this horror society, and essentially destroy something they had with a good man so they could feed their attention and validation. Because it says it right here. It says you can't eat or sleep when you're having such an intense time emotionally and sexually with a new person, even if your marriage is good. So that's why a lot of you brothers, I encourage you to watch these different channels. Like me, I watch a channel called Strong Successful Male and the other videos, and he'll go through different letters of guys who've been in long-term relationships and everything's fine, but the woman seeks excitement. Because when you liberate the woman, she's going to go after her own devices and the things that please her. And the scripture talks about it. Let's go to Sirach chapter 25. I'll start at verse 17. I'll read verse 16. It says, I had rather dwell with a lion and a dragon than to keep house with a wicked woman. The wickedness of a woman changeth her face and darkeneth her countenance like sackcloth. So you have to understand, the wickedness of a woman is very subtle. It's very deceptive, right? And another thing why I say you brothers shouldn't expect much from women is because what did Solomon himself say? He said, out of the 1,000 I found one man, but out of the 1,000 women I found none righteous. And I was talking with a brother, and he said even Solomon had 1,000 wives and he couldn't find one righteous wife among all the women that he had been with. Not saying that there aren't virtuous women out here. I mean, but the scripture says they're rarer than rubies. So how often y'all gonna come across a ruby in the streets? That's how often you're gonna come across a woman who's truly a Proverbs 31 woman. You know, many women try to convince themselves of that. I see different Christian girls on Instagram Threads saying how P31 and, you know, I'm going after this and that. But brothers, that takes such a long period of time to really know. It takes years, like 4, 5, 10 years. If a woman haven't been with you long term, there's no point trying to expect her to be a woman of her word, because that's just not the reality of it. You see what I'm saying? And also you have to understand is verse 19. Let's go. It says, all wickedness is but little wickedness to the wickedness of a woman. Let the portion of a sinner fall upon her. So the way that a woman's mind is set up, it's easy for them to justify their wickedness, even if they understand adultery, even if they understand, you know, that it can destroy the home and things like that. And yes, it is true that men do that. Some men do walk away from their children. You know, some men do treat their woman bad and leave her for another female, stuff like that. Don't get me wrong, but I'm just going off the statistics. On average, the average woman is going to commit an affair 3 times more likely than a man. So, you know, I don't like to say this stuff, but realistically, brothers, there's a good chance that if you're not some super famous athlete, super famous rapper, some dude with so much clout, and you just found a woman straight out of Sri Lanka, you know, she been waiting for an arranged marriage, there's a very good chance in your lifetime that your woman is going to step out on you, regardless of what you do. So, do you want to continue to live your life in fear and expect a woman to be something that she's not? Or do you just accept it for what it is and protect yourself, not getting legally married, not falling in love with a woman, you know what I'm saying? Not over investing into somebody who doesn't even invest in themselves or expect themselves to have that type of character, right? And when we'll go down to Sirach chapter 24 and verse 24, it says, of the woman came the beginning of sin, meaning through Eve, and through her we all die. Give the water no passage, neither a wicked woman liberty to gad abroad. If she goes, thou would not have her. Cut her off from thy flesh and give her a bill of divorce and let her go. In this society, women can gad abroad as much as they want. So according to the scriptures, if you put 2 and 2 together, you'll understand life better. All right. So I wanted to get this one right here. It says the view that is mostly men who cheat because their partners lose interest in sex is outdated. Science says that it's actually women who struggle more with monogamy because they get bored in the bedroom. Women crave sexual variety, and while some stifle their desires, others will be unfaithful. Wednesday, Martin, an anthropologist and author of Untrue, refers to this new research as the Great Correction. Martin interviewed dozens of sociologists, sex researchers, and anthropologists for her book on female infidelity, and says the sad, sorry picture painted of the female libido is grossly wrong. It is alive and kicking and eager to be satisfied. So you see that, brothers? No matter how great you may think the dynamic is, if the dynamic of finding a faithful woman who's not willing to step out, not willing to seek constant validation from men, if she don't have those qualities, bro, there's a very good chance that she's gonna do it. You gotta look at it like an investment, Akim. You gotta look at it. A wise man makes sure he reduces the risk of insolvency within his business as much as possible. And just to let y'all brothers know, when it comes to you finding a woman that you want to be with, or women, whatever it may be the situation permits, you got to make sure that the risk of the relationship is as drastically reduced as possible. So you have to understand the reality, and you got to know how to deal with it. And I also want to get to some of these comments, because many brothers is waking up. One brother said, didn't even need a study. Any grown man could have told you that. Says, all these dudes that lead with their wallet need to pay attention. You can make millions and she'll cheat on you with a personal trainer if she's not physically into you. Doesn't matter. This study will be ignored, dismissed, and denied by women. Yeah, women are going to try to keep up the narrative because it allows them to feel good about themselves. If a woman were to come to the reality of who she really was, many of the things and how she would feel about herself would go down the drain, because women, they get validation from the outside world. And it says right here, it says, just look at all the options women have, even the ugly ones, not surprised. It says, and this is the key right here. It says, and with the number so high, in 2 to 3 years, do a poll of men raising kids that they found out wasn't theirs. The numbers will be crazy. And that's why brothers, hey, don't be afraid, bro. Like Judah say, don't be afraid to ask for that paternity test. And this is the one that I wanted to get. It says, women that have variety before being in a serious relationship struggle with not having that variety while in a relationship, aka body count matters. Now, if the Most High is really dealing with that woman, then it is true that a woman, her mind can shift. But again, if they've had variety, if they've gone out there and tested all these different guys, you can be as great a man as you think you are, but it's very likely that she's still going to seek out those different type of thrills, especially if she's not mature enough. Most of these women are not mature when it comes to their mindset and how they view the world. So essentially, brothers, it is what it is, man. I just wanted to share this with y'all, bro. I thought it was very revelatory. And obviously, these things are going to continue until the end of this society. So y'all brothers, make sure y'all protect yourself, man. And don't come into a relationship. Don't come into a dynamic giving a woman her integrity kudos if she haven't proved it. Prove the woman, vet the woman, and expect the normal behaviors of a modern day woman to show up until the woman proves you otherwise. One of my elders, she said, they're proving guilty until they're proven guilty. Basically, he's saying, don't expect something different from a woman. Expect what most women are until she shows you exemplary character. And the elder told me that's going to take years, bro. So y'all brothers, make sure y'all stay vigilant. And honestly, bro, just understand the world that we're living in. So I give all praises to the Most High Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua. Until next time, it's the brother Ash Ibai signing out.